Elu'hymn. Iy'ELU'YAH. The Ancient of Days reigns. And the rapture theory and the rise of many false Christs, and the conspiracy about the post-trib and the mid-trib and pre-tribulation is debunked. And the revelation of whom is Elu'hymn is the Iys Christ. Daniel chapter 7 verse 9, And as I looked on there were thrones that were set up, and Iys holy throne was in placed. And Iys judgment court was now in place, and Iys great judgment day was now in session. And Iy'ELU'YAH, the Ancient of Days took Iys seat on Iys throne. And Iys clothing was white as snow, and the hair on Iys head was as white as snow, and Iys hair was like pure wool. And Iys throne was on fire. And the appearance of on Iys throne was like a burning fiery flame. And Iys throne was like a wheel which was on fire, and Iys throne appearance was like a burning flame of fire. And a stream of fire was issuing out from Iys throne. And also from off of Iy'ELU'YAH. And the fire was also coming from off of Iys chemiluminescence cherubim, and the glow was all over Iy'ELU'YAH, whom was a light like the sun. And everyone who has ever existed was gathered before Iy. And there were thousands upon thousands of Iys angels who were serving Elu'hymn. And there were possibly thousands upon thousands and tens of thousands upon thousands of beings that were standing before Iy. And Iys throne. And Iys judgment court was set up. And everyone was in Iys judgment court. And Iys books were opened up. And as I looked on I beheld Iy'ELU'YAH, when Iy'ELU'YAH began judging everyone. And I witnessed all the things that was happening. And after all that I heard the sound of the voice of Satan who was speaking. And who was speaking blasphemy against Iy. And also a little horn who was speaking great words. And the other horns were speaking against him. And as I looked on, that great beast was killed, and its body was destroyed, and his body was given over to be burned with fire. But as for the rest of the beasts, them their dominion were all taken away from them. But their lives were prolonged for a little season, and for a moment of time. Even for their consummation at the time of the 1,000 years reign of Iy'ELU'YAH, whom is called Christ. Iys covenant with David is being fulfilled. And the prophecy about Iys prophesied birth, whom is also named Holy Iy. And the holy prophet Elu'yah. And whom is Iy'ELU'YAH, the sovereign king of all the heavens and the earth. And whom is Iy. Whom is called the Holy One, and Iy. The Almighty Iy. And Iy. The Odd. And also Father Iy. And the everlasting Father. And Iy Christ and Iy. Odd and Elu'hymn. And whom is the sovereign one, whom resembles the light of Iys sun. And the coming of Iy the Iys Christ. Isaiah chapter 9 verse 6 through 7, For unto us a child is born, and unto us a son is being given, and the government will be on Iy's shoulders. And Iy's name will be called Elu'hymn. And Iy's government shall be wonderful. And Iy shall be the holy prophet. And a counselor. And a chancellor. And Iy's name shall be called the Almighty Iy. And the Odd. And Father Iy. And also Iy. The Prince of Peace. And Iy's kingdom shall be everlasting. And Iy's kingdom and Iy's dominion shall never end. And Iy's government shall increase. And there shall be peace in Iy's earth, and in Iy's Olam, and all strife and wars will end. And Iy shall reign over Iy's kingdom, as Iy has promised to David. And that Iy shall establish Iy's kingdom all by himself. And that Iy shall uphold Iy's end of Iy's agreement, and also Iy's covenant. And with Iy's justice. And with Iy's righteousness, and from Iy's new Jerusalem. And from that time on. And even forever and forevermore. And all those that are Iy's shall flow into Iy's holy kingdom. And we all shall worship Iy with a new zeal. Because Iy is the Odd. And because Iy is the Almighty Iy. And because Iy is whom shall accomplish all of this. All by himself. The coming of Iy as Iy Christ to reign in Satan. And all the nations them that are in Iy's earth. And to establish Iy's righteous government, and also to establish Iy's holy kingdom in Iy's world. And to reign forever and forevermore. Because the coming of Iy the Odd is very near. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 verse 13, But I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning all those who have fallen asleep, so that you won't be sad for them because they too would be raised, and don't you worry about them. Because there is hope for them. So you should be glad for them. And for all those whom have passed on because they are Iy's. And they shall be saved by Iy'ELU'YAH. And because they have embraced and accepted Iy. And also have acknowledged Iy, as their Savior they shall be saved. And if they had believed that it was Iy, who died to save them, and to make the atonement for their sins, and that it wasn't Jesus, then Iy would save them. And likewise if we should believe that it was Iy'ELU'YAH whom have died to redeem us and whom has rose again, then we also would rise again. And likewise even so would all those who are now asleep whom have believed in Iy Christ, even so then would also all those that believed in Iy'ELU'YAH, would Iy'ELU bring back to Iy's earth with Iy'ELU. When Iy shall return to establish Iy's holy kingdom. And they would all remain with Elu'hymn in Iy's holy kingdom. And this is why we are saying to you that these are the true and the faithful words of Iy'ELU, whom is also Iy'ELU'YAH and the Odd. And that if we who have believed in Iy and Iy'ELU'YAH that we all shall be saved. And this is the reason why all those whom Iy's and whom have died shall all come to life again. Because they shall be given Iy's gift of everlasting life. And we all shall be gathered into Iy's holy kingdom. And we all shall be gathered by Iy's holy angels. But we all shall appear with all those that are Iy's. And we all shall be judged by Iy'ELU. And will be in Iy's holy kingdom which shall come down into Iy's earth. And we all shall remain here. And we all shall behold Iy at the coming of Iy the Odd. And we all shall live in Iy's holy kingdom. So my friends, at the time of our passing or in the time of Iy's coming, and our time living here it shall not prevent them which are asleep from entering into Iy's holy kingdom. Because they too shall be gathered with all those whom Iy'ELU shall raised. And we all shall also behold Iy'ELU. Because we all shall be at Iy's judgment seat whom is Iy Christ. But the wicked shall be in Iy's judgment court which shall be set up before Iy'ELU. And which I believe shall be set up in Iy's earth. So, then the righteous, or the redeemed ones, and the elected ones, and also all those that are Iy's they wouldn't be at the same judgment. They would be like Iy on hand, and they would be at the judgment seat of Christ which is in Iy's heavens. But the wicked ones, they would be in Iy's great white throne judgment, which would be set up for all those who would be raised and be judged and then sent to their second death, and they would be in Iy's judgment court which I believe would be set up in Iy's earth. And this would be when Iy'ELU would have returned and set up Iy's holy kingdom in Iy's earth. The wicked dead they would be at that judgment, which would be set up in Iy's earth, and they would be judged in Iy's judgment court, before being sent to their second death. Because Iy'ELU, the Odd himself shall descend from Iy's heavens with a shout, and with Iy's holy angels, and Iy's archangel. And Iy shall return with those who are Iy's, and who were once dead, and with those who are Iy's who are now alive, and with those who are now being redeemed and with those whom are triumphant over Satan, and also over death. But then all those whom are Iy's they all would have already being judged and be rewarded by Iy'ELU. Because they would be raised first. And they would be with Iy, whom Iy's called holy Iy, and Iy Christ and the Odd. But then all those which are alive and remain, and they aren't Iy's they shall not be caught up together with those who are Iy's. And we all would be gathered only for the white throne judgment which would be the second death. And which would be after Iy'ELU would return to Iy's earth. And Iy's great white throne judgment would have set up in Iy's holy kingdom and would be in Iy's judgment court which would be set up in Iy's earth, and which would be called the second death. Because all those who have died, and are wicked they would have to stay in their grave until they meet Iy'ELU as the righteous judge. But the redeemed ones they all would be judged by Iy'ELU at Iy's judgment seat which is in Iy's heavens. But the wicked dead they all would be rejected by Iy'ELU. And many of them would be sent away, and they all would be sent into hell. But the redeemed ones they would be saved, and there be alive and they will remain with Iy in Iy's holy kingdom. And they shall be with Iy'ELU'YAH, whom is the odd forever and forevermore. Wherefore comfort one another with these words. Because all these are the prophesied signs of the end of the age. And very soon he would be coming. And as he was sitting down upon the Mount of Olives, his disciples came unto Elu'hymn privately, asking all about his sayings. And they asked Please tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming, and when shall the end of the world coming? And when shall thine holy kingdom come? And then the Iys Christ answered them, and Iy'ELU'YAH said unto them, Take heed to these sayings. Unless Satan and that deceiver no man Jesuit Judas Jesus deceive you. For many false Jesuses shall come. And they would be saying, that Jesus is Christ. And many shall come in their God's name. And they shall deceive many. And when there shall be wars and rumors of wars, see that you don't be troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nations shall rise up against nations, and kingdoms shall be against kingdoms, and there shall be famines, and pestilences, and earthquakes, in divers places in Iy's earth. And all these are the beginning of sorrows. Please continue on. The coming fulfillment of the prophecy of the bombings in the nations them, and prophecy about the desolation in the cities in the nations them. And when there shall be bombings in the nation them, and when there shall be many destruction and desolation in the cities them, and when you shall see the fulfillment of all the prophecies that was spoken of by Elu'hymn, and also by the prophet Daniel, and that it is being fulfilled. Then there would be a time when Michael, one of Iy's angel, whom shall take a stand. And then Iy's holy angels shall be sent to gather Iy's elected ones into Iy's holy kingdom. And when Iy'ELU'YAH shall come in the clouds with Iy's holy palace, and Iy's holy habitation. So let whosoever that is reading Iy's sayings, that are in Iy's book, let them understand this. And also let them understand Iy's holy prophecies. And that this is the season of Iy's second advent, and the fulfillment of Iy's prophecies that were given to Daniel. And also this is about the coming the fulfillment of Iy's covenant with David. And which was also about the fulfillment of Iy's prophesied birth. And also about Elu'hymn, the holy prophet, and about the coming of holy Iyy, whom shall once again return as Christ. And who first came as the holy prophet Elu'hymn. And Iy'ELU'YAH, the sovereign one of heaven. And whom is also called the Holy One, whom is named Israel. And the Almighty Iyy. And the Odd. And also whom is called Father Iyy. And also Iyy. And Elu'hymn. And whom is the Holy One whom is coming back to Iy's earth. And whom is Elu'hymn. And Iyy. The Odd whom resembles the light of Iy's sun. And also Iyy. The Iyy. Odd of glory. Whom is coming of as Iyy, the sun. And the light of Iy's world. And as Elu'hymn the Savior of Iy's world. And as Iyy. The Iys Christ. Isaiah chapter 9 verse 6 through 7, For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders. And Iy's name will be called Elu'hymn. And Iy's government shall be wonderful. And Iyy shall become Elu'hymn. And the Chancellor, and the Holy Prophet, and the Counselor. And Iy's name shall be called the Almighty Iyy. And the Odd. And Father Iyy. And also Iyy. The Prince of Peace. And Iy's kingdom shall be everlasting. And Iy's kingdom and Iy's dominion shall never end. And Iy's government shall increase. And there shall be peace in Iy's earth and in Iy's olam, and all strife and wars will end. And Iyy shall reign over Iy's kingdom, as Iyy has promised to David. And that Iyy shall establish it himself. And that Iyy shall uphold Iy's end of Iy's agreement and also Iy's covenant. And with Iy's justice and Iy's righteousness, and from Iy's new Jerusalem. And from that time on. And even forever and forevermore. And all those who are Iy's shall flow into Iy's kingdom. And we all shall worship Iyy with a new zeal. Because Iyy is the Odd. And because Iyy is the Almighty Iyy. And because Iyy shall accomplish all of this. All by himself. The coming of as Christ to reign in Satan. And all the nations that are in earth. And to establish righteous government and holy kingdom in world. And to reign forever and forevermore. The coming of Christ whom the odd. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 verse 18 Wherefore comfort one another with these words. Because all these are the signs of the ending of the age. And he would soon be coming. Matthew chapter 24 verse 3, And as he sat down with his disciples them upon the Mount of Olives, some of his disciples came unto Iy'ELU'YAH asking privately, about sayings. And they were asking to tell them, when shall these things be? And what and when shall be the signs of thy coming, and when would be the end of the world? And then the Christ answered them and said unto them, Take heed to words, unless that no man Satan shall come with many gods, and with Jesus, and they shall deceive you. For many shall come in Jesus's and God's name. And they shall not know his name. And they shall be saying, that Jesus is Christ. And that Jesus is God's Son. And that God is called Elu'hymn. And they shall deceive many. And when there shall be rumors of more wars, see that you don't be troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, and pestilences, and earthquakes, in divers places. Because all these are the beginning of sorrows. The fulfillment of the bombing in the nations them, and the destruction and the desolation of many of their cities, and coming of Iy'ELU'YAH, which was spoken about in the prophecies of Daniel. Matthew chapter 24 verse 15, And when there shall be the fulfilling of the bombing of the nations and about the destruction and the desolation of the prophecy that was spoken of by Daniel the prophet, then we all would behold Iy'ELU'YAH. And he would be coming back to establish his holy kingdom in earth. And to make his last stance against Satan and to reign in this untoward wicked generation. Then all of his elected ones would gathered. And everyone would be judged and be rewarded. And all those that are would live with in his holy place, so let whosoever is reading let them understand this. That these are the signs which are before the great tribulation and before the coming of Iy'ELU'YAH. The coming of the Son whom is called both and Elu'hymn. Matthew chapter 24 verse 29, Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken, and then he shall appear, and then many shall see the sign of Iy'ELU'YAH, the Son, whom shall be coming in the heavens, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, when they shall see the Son coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his holy angels to gather his elected ones. And with a great sound of his trumpets, and they shall gather his elected ones together from every one and from the four winds, and from the ends of the heaven to the other end of his earth. And then we shall be in his judgment. And then we all would be judged. And then many would be rejected by and many of them would be turned away by Iy'ELU'YAH, and then they would be sent into hell. And many would also be saved by Iy'ELU'YAH, and they would remain in his holy kingdom. And they would be in the millennium reign of Iy'ELU'YAH, whom is Christ. Praise the odd. He's coming. Hallelujah. Praise the odd. He is coming to save us. Thank you. So let it be. Amen. The end to be continued.